Hey guys, I'm Katya Kot, and in this class, I want to share with you how I bring a whimsical fish character to life, from the very first reference sketch all the way to a fully colored and textured illustration. Everything starts with shapes. So I begin by collecting a few references, but here is an important note: not to copy, but to be inspired by the amazing diversity of fish in real life. Sometimes you can see artists take different silhouettes and transform them into characters, but here I decided to straight away get inspired by the fish. I am a fish addict. I have two aquariums at home, and yeah, that wasn't a very difficult choice for me which subject to draw here. If you think about the overall shapes, you can see that some fish are more elegant, some are more strange, some have very kind of surprising silhouettes, and I am mesmerized by the anglerfish, to be honest. I think this is why an anglerfish came out. After I take a bit of time to observe the shapes and rhythms of how the fins flow, how their proportions kind of shift, I start sketching out and filling in those silhouettes, what I see, and I start mixing and matching, and this is the fun part. I start modifying those shapes as well, pushing them into something more playful. I can stretch them, squash them, flip them around, and like mix them in bit like one with the other. And I start already at this stage to imagine what kind of character might live in that body. So maybe it's overly dramatic or curious or a little shy or super confident. And this is the part for me where the personality of the character starts to kind of already appear, and even before the details go in. Once I have the silhouettes, I start to add the details. All the silhouettes that I create, usually I add the details over the top, and then I start to kind of push that character more. So if I see that a fish is a princess fish, so let's show that more. And I can also go out of my silhouette. It's not something set in stone, and I can add details or take away details from the silhouette just to make that fish personality shine better. And after I'm done with that, I usually choose the one that I like the most, and this is the fun part, the color. And I really love to experiment here. I always wanted to do watercolor illustrations, watercolor and colored pencils. So here in Procreate, I try to replicate that. And what I do first is I create 3 different color palettes, but I work from one. So I start with one, I create a kind of an underpainting for the watercolor, and then I copy paste it and start messing with the sliders within Procreate, because this is an interesting way of seeing color variation that you might not even have imagined. And sometimes, yes, I stick to the first one that I choose, but very often I can see something very interesting that I would have maybe not created just by hand. Maybe my eyes wouldn't just see it. And for that, you can also, for this inspiration, you can also look up on color palettes on Pinterest, for example. But yeah, just go with your gut usually. And recently, I'm noticing that I love analogous palettes, and very, very often I add just a tiny detail of that complementary color into my analogous palette. Once the color is selected, I move on to rendering, and here already the colored pencil brush comes in. I use only one brush for now, at least for now. And yeah, I also wanted to mention that I use Adilson Farias' watercolor brushes, but there's no need to use those exact brushes. You can also use gouache brushes for this and mix them in your way, or you can use other brushes just to create that underpainting that then we can render with a colored pencil. So one size almost all the time, and the same brush all over the rendering process. By this time, I go into details already. I start creating layers, and I start somewhere I keep the line and I use it as a shadow kind of color for the areas where I need the shadow. Sometimes I delete the line on the line work where I don't need it, where I like that watercolory effect. So it all depends here on how you like to see your render, the final version of your render. Here, it's all about creating that hand-drawn, interesting texture and add depth, because even a small anglerfish, I hear that they are quite small, and even a small anglerfish can have its own huge personality, and we can give them that by adding the depth with the textures. That's how I build my characters. Let's just recap, starting from shape, playing with texture and color, and staying curious all the way. And you will see the whole process unfold in the lesson. There are 4 in this tutorial, and yeah, there we go. We have the whole character created. You can watch this class. I created a class on Skillshare, or if you're subscribed on my Patreon. If you would like to see any other interesting, maybe you have any other interesting ideas, then don't forget to comment underneath. And I know that I'm changing a lot the style of the channel right now. I have to be honest, there's been a huge amount of people unsubscribing from me, but I knew that I had to expect it, because I finally am doing what I truly love. I found myself, and that's picture book illustration. So I hope you guys that stick with me, and people that find me, maybe I really hope that maybe it brings a little smile to your face, the illustration that I create. So yeah, thank you so much for checking out the video, and I will see you very soon in the live drawings. By the way, it's been 20 days as of now that I'm creating live drawing videos on YouTube here. So yay! I will see you soon. Okay? Bye. Have a wonderful week. Bye bye.